Good morning. Last Sunday, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to show you the sign that I received the vaccine? Or put it the other way, how am I to know that you received the vaccine? What sign can I show you? Perhaps we can use an old sign. You're familiar with this, right? It means victory, right? That was the old meaning of this. Now there's a new meaning to this, meaning vaccinated. See? Why would there be two? Because I received 2 shots, so I'm vaccinated. One of the ushers said, what if I receive Johnson? So you put the 2 fingers into one, like this. But the point here is this. I want to know if you received the vaccine so I could feel safe when I give out communion next week without the mask. Could you show me if you received the vaccine? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. I think I should feel safe with you guys. And thank you for wearing the mask anyway. So, thanks again. Now, go into the readings of the day. Today is Pentecost Sunday. That is 50th day after Easter. That's why it's called Pentecost, from the Greek word penta, 5 or 50. But before I go on, I'd like you to go to the farthest frame of our church. The 2 last frames. See that? That's the sign of the Pentecost. Tongues of fire descending upon the head of the apostles. That's the symbol of the Holy Spirit. What was amazing was, first reading, when the apostles received the tongues of fire, they went out and preached. Amazing, because all of them were speaking the native dialect of Jesus, Hebrew. And yet the people who came from different parts of the Roman Empire, some spoke Greek, some Latin, and many other languages, they could understand the Hebrew that was spoken by the apostles. That was the amazing thing. Now, fast forward that into our time. Actually, that's happening in our time. You guys, the younger ones, have you been to the UN and attended an open conference of the UN? Amazing. Because one could speak in his or her own dialect or language. And yet all those who attend the conference would be able to understand. But that is technology. Because at the end of that line is a translation. And then would translate the native language into English or in your own dialect. But what happened during the Pentecost is, yes, it was purely the power of the Holy Spirit, symbolized by tongue of fire. But the point that I'd like to share with you now is, that was the power, that was the encouragement the apostles needed. Because after that, they went to all the world. They went all fulfilling what Jesus told them. Preach the good news to all creation. They went to all the known parts of the world then. Now, as I said, fast forward that into our time. Because the power of the Holy Spirit did not end on the apostles. It went beyond the extent of the apostles. The Holy Spirit is among us. the tongue of fire still on our spirit. Meaning that command, that commission to preach the good news is as relevant as in the time of the apostles. We are the successors of the apostles. So we have that obligation to preach the good news. Now let me focus that onto the concrete example of to whom should we be preaching the good news in our time. Let's start with the family. Mom, dad, children. Let's start with a small community, your own family. Preach the good news. Now let's take a look at what's happening in small communities or families in our time. It could be, and more likely, that the members of a family, yes, could be your son, could be your daughter. They were, yes, baptized in the Catholic Church. But take a look again. Your son, your daughter, where are they now? When they are still young as these kids, they come to church with you. But now, when they are older, done with school, working, married, that's a different thing. They don't show up. And many of them don't even profess their faith. Many of them don't even want to hear about God. Of course, they know about Google. They make Google their God. See? These are the people that we need to preach the good news, to talk about God. They may not like you when you talk about God. But take a look. These are the people that once they were young, you sent them to Catholic schools. You sent them to Catholic university. You spent so much for them. But now, where are they? When they're young, they come with you. But when they grow old, they don't even want to hear about God. But because of the commission on the Pentecost, you need to go on. Show them the good news. Show them your good example, who you are and what you are. Now, again, let me go a different way. The power of the Holy Spirit was not exclusively extended to the bishops and priests. But the power of the Holy Spirit were given to all of us in baptism, in confirmation. And therefore, you have that ability. You have that responsibility to preach. At some point, when I'm preaching before you, sometimes I would say, I wish I could hear from you, not just from me as a priest. I wish I could hear from you how you translate your faith in your daily life. How I wish I could hear from you how you use your faith in, yes, on Sunday, like this morning at 9 o'clock, there were young ones who were with us. Young ones that you probably would see me playing with them. And because of that, they're familiar to me. One of them actually came up, wanting to come up with me up on the altar. Such as the young. But again, I want to hear from you how you translate that, how you apply your faith in a family setting. Patience, for instance. It's not easy when you bring a kid into the Mass, especially when they're still toddlers. They have no sense of discipline. They can run around and walk around, and I have no problem with that. I told you many times. But again, the point is this: if we could share how we apply our faith in a family setting, how I wish I could hear it from you and learn from you and learn that you too have the power of the Holy Spirit in you. Thank you.